Welcome back to Frontline Eurosports Online. Your host Nate Jennings has an amazing delivery, the Daytona 675R, Tim's Daytona 2.0. Right?
Yeah, man.
So we had a Daytona 675, and now we're upgrading to the 675R. So we're going to go over some of the additions that we have on the motorcycle. You ready?
Ready.
We always start with our tire safety warning with these beautiful 17-inch Pirelli Super Corsa SPs that are going to be amazing as you're getting in there during the track days, but not with us. You don't need to change for street tires. You've got track tires right here. Being an R model, we're going to be upgrading the front fender to a carbon fiber front fender. We have our amazing Onleans front suspension, which is three-way adjustable for us. We have our Brembo brakes that are Brembo monoblocks led with steel-braided brake lines. This is a Daytona, so it has ABS. Being an R model, we have switchable ABS, which we'll go over in the instrumentation, how to transition from ABS on, off, or their circuit mode. Our beautiful steel-braided lines, and there's an additional cable on this side leading to our sensor pickup for our ABS right there. So as we come along the body of this beautiful, sleek, matte black 675R, we're going to talk about the engine. You're familiar with the 3-cylinder. It is water-cooled, inline 3-cylinder that's fuel-injected and chain-driven. 125 horsepower, 54.6 foot-pounds of torque, and a light package. 367 pounds dry, just over 4, about 406 wet weight on this Daytona. As we come back, we've got that compressed engine, and it's easy to access serviceability with our oil fill, oil check, spin-on filter on the front, drain on the bottom. My man Tim has already upgraded to the Aero slip-on that was available from Factory Triumph, allowing us to remap the motorcycle and get him a little bit hotter settings, get all the factory EP stuff out of there, getting a little fatter setting for air-fuel mixture. Our beautiful swing arm, that is going to be a change-driven motorcycle, so we do have axle adjustment blocks and axle adjusters we need to keep an eye on, servicing our chain every 500 miles or every 2.5 tanks of gas or so. An important element for safety to protect that swing arm in case of an accident would be swing arm spools, which are already cut into the swing arm, so we have an easy way to bolt those right in and make a nice addition to your machine. Continuing with the carbon fiber, we have a carbon fiber rear tire hugger, and suspension-wise, our TTX 36 rear shock that's three-way adjustable as well, and really easy to make those adjustments at the track that we are now addicted to. So, our rear braking system, we have our foot peg rest, collapsible foot peg, rear brake pedal with a steel braided line, and another steel braided line going up to our ABS module. That's going to redistribute the braking power back to the rear for us. And we also have a speed sensor pickup. Our correlating Brembo rear brake caliper, our matching SP rear tire, and the rest is going to be very familiar for you. We're going to take our key out of the lock cylinder here, and we have access to under our saddle over here, giving us our minuscule toolkit, but we've got some tools to work on this machine located in the rear section of the motorcycle, their tail section. To remove the saddle itself, we do have 2 bolts, one on each side of the saddle in the rear. Remove those, pull the seat up and out. Stacking it already in there. Our ownership papers. So we'll slide the saddle back on real nice and easy, hopefully. And then we get to some more characteristics that you're going to find on the R. Right out of the box, they're going to hook us up with the Triumph quick shifter for clutchless upshifts. You'll see the benefit of that immediately. Our 6-speed transmission with the shift pedal right here, 1 down and 5 up. Our matching collapsible foot peg with feeler gauges on the end of them that we might actually get to use, right? Dragging pegs on this beast. We're going to have our stator cover located on this side of the engine, which is where we're just creating all the power for the motorcycle and redistributing it out through the machine. We get up to some other cool stuff like more carbon fiber on the R. Our inner fenders here are a full true carbon fiber on either side of the motorcycle. We have a normal fuel filler and lock cylinder. So this one key that we just put into the rear will access our fuel as well as our ignition, which does double as our steering column lock. Right now, handlebars wise, we're going to have conventional push-pull cables with a twist throttle, a front brake with a Brembo master cylinder that's radially mounted. So that's going to be a lot more effective system for us than what we had on our conventional Daytona. Our normal run cycle start button, which does require a clutch to be pulled in, like you know on the previous machine, to start this motorcycle. As we carry ourselves over to the left, we got our horn, turn signal, high beam, low beam, and badass Triumph Daytona coming through pass light. So the suspension I'm not going to go over too much. It is a lot different than our previous model, as we have a preload adjustable fork leg on each side, but we have a rebound and a compression fork leg. You know, you can work with us here in our service department to get the suspension set up for you and get the right rider set before we start getting nasty on it. But let's get the first service done, get some dexterity in the springs before we start crunching on preloads and whatnot. Now, here's your key. Let's give it a twist. Look at the beautiful instrumentation. As it cues up and you hear your fuel pump kicking on and all that happy jazz, we're going to have a cycle of the tachometer, illumination of everything on the screen, starting with a temperature gauge. We have a timepiece, speedometer. I'll go through our trip meters here, gear indicator, and our fuel meter on the other side. We have an A button and a B button, as it's going to be explained in the owner's manual. That'll allow us to slide through trip 1, trip 2, our ABS setup, lap timers, and our setup menu. Going back into trip 1, we can hit our B button. We have our trip meter, our range on fuel tank, our time running, our average miles per hour, or miles per gallon, average, and this is an instantaneous miles per gallon. It'll show when you start riding the motorcycle what you're doing real time. Then we get to our average miles per hour, and back to our odometer. Trip 2, same settings, ABS. Now, we can switch this guy off with the simple push of B button, and then back in our A button. We had on, circuit, and off. So what we do is we selected that we want to make a modification there. I'm going to keep us on setting right now. We have more lap timer information. Our setup. Let's enter our setup. That's going to allow us to change our timepiece, units of measurement, more lap information, and our shift light is something I will actually go through. As we tap into that, we have SE, which you've already stated is your preferred gear shift indicator. We have level 3 setting, level 6 setting. Let's get that back into the SE mode for you. And we've already manipulated where we want our shift light to work for. So you can see it going up on the tachometer as we make those modifications. We're in our initial break-in stages, so I'm going to take it back down to 5,500 RPMs for us and leave it set there. We can play with even finite adjustments to the hundreds of RPM. We get to our true odometer. Notice that when we turn the instrumentation on, it showed 1 mile on the motorcycle, then it switched over to the trip meter. The only way to get back to that while the bike's running is going into your setup menu and going into your true odometer. We have a service countdown warning, and we can return back out of this beast. So in the instrumentation lighting, you do see the ABS light flashing. That is something that will be going away after we rotate the tires and get this thing knowing that, hey, my computer's working, we're covering this customer. It'll go away unless we make a modification to it and manually turn it off. We have our normal lights for just our warning lights until we turn the machine on, a neutral indicator, our high beam light, which doesn't come on until the bike is on, our low fuel warning light, along with our bar here. We'll get an additional warning, and if we added an immobilizer, a factory Triumph alarm system, we'll have an additional blinking of the light on the immobilizer light. So we went through your new Daytona 675R. Is there any questions that you want me to reiterate on this bad boy? Are you ready to rock and roll?
No, I think I'm good.
I think what we need to do though is let everybody hear that amazing aero exhaust that you've already put on this motorcycle. Let's do that. So I'm going to open up the hatches real quick. All right, here we go.
Or down for the heat, you got the heat fan fluid too, huh? Good figure.
2016 Triumph Daytona 675R with Aero factory slip-on. One more start. Thanks for watching this at Frontline Eurosports online. We'll catch you next time.